Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Hopeful Chewbacca at the Church of Chewbacca, and today we're going to go over the 3 cards that are the bosses for the third inning program that you can unlock at 300 program stars. We're going to go over each of these cards in depth, and while we're doing that, you should probably hit the subscribe button so we can keep creating great content. Also, at the end of the video, I will go over which player I'm personally going to select and how each player could fit into your lineup whenever you get to the 300 program stars, and whether you should pick the Shane Victorino, Chipper Jones, or Brian Roberts based on what you need for your personal lineup. Shane Victorino, center fielder, 2009 Gold Glove winner. Guys, the first card we're going to go over is the center fielder from the Philadelphia Phillies, 2009 Gold Glover, Shane Victorino. His secondary positions are left field and right field. He's weighing in at 185 pounds and not 5'9". Smaller frame allows him to not have the biggest strike zone. He's a switch hitter, right-handed throwing, diamond hitting, diamond defense. One of the few players born in Hawaii. Now let's get into his attributes of what this card actually is. 91 contact versus righty, 106 contact versus lefty, 56 power versus righty, 50 power versus lefty, 103 vision. For his fielding, he has 91 fielding, 94 arm strength, 90 arm accuracy, 94 reaction with 86 speed. So it makes sense that his defense is so good. He's a Gold Glover for this card. If no one knows what a Gold Glover means, it means essentially he was the best defensive center fielder in the National League in 2009. So every position within Major League Baseball and each league is in the National League and the American League, gets to get a Gold Glover per position. So in 2009, Shane Victorino was the best center fielder. That's why his card is so nasty defensively. And throughout his career, whether he played on Boston or he played in Philadelphia, he was a great fielder. His hitting attributes aren't as good as his fielding. However, he does have great contact, so he's going to be a great contact hitter. Has decent pop. He might hit you a home run, maybe 1 in 20 at bats. Possibly. You get a perfect fly ball, it'll probably go out with him. He is going to be a great guy at the 1 or 2 hole in your lineup or the 7, 8, 9 spot. He's definitely not going to be in the middle of your lineup. He just doesn't have enough power. However, when he does get on base, he can cause a little bit of havoc with that 86 speed and 75 stealing. It's not the best, but it's not bad. Now, defensively, with the 86 speed and the great arm strength, he can play all 3 outfield positions. So if you are a guy that's already got that super nasty 99 overall Mickey Mantle from doing all the collections, this card can go in one of the corner outfield positions and be a big help defensively and want to build a more of a defensive-centric team. Plus, the switch hitting is going to get you a good lefty-righty, righty-lefty matchup. Take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are hitting machine, 20/20 vision, soft hands, quick reflexes, cannon, sniper, speedster, thief, pressure cooker, unbreakable, bunt master. So in a situation where he might need to do a sacrifice bunt, he'll actually be pretty decent at doing it. He has a speedster and thief, so he'll have a little bit boosted attributes when he's trying to steal. The sniper, cannon, quick reflexes, soft hands all go into the fact that he's a Gold Glover. Just makes sense for those quirks to be part of this card. The hitting machine of 20/20 vision means that he'll foul off some more balls whenever he's batting, which means he'll be a little bit harder to strike out. The hitting machine means he's going to get a lot of base hits. So pretty much, like I said, he's going to be a leadoff guy, second guy in your lineup, or that 7, 8, 9 spot, depending on where you bat your pitcher. I say 7, 8, 9. Or for whatever reason you're playing in a league that has a DH option, then he could be used in this 7, 8, or 9 spot legitimately because the pitcher isn't used. However, with the good vision, the good contact, his PCI is going to be pretty big. Be able to play with him in all difficulties. I played with the card that he has for Boston Red Sox, and I just feel like it's a good card. He has a nice swing, and I think you'll have a good swing with this card as well. I don't think he has more than one swing in the game. So I do think that his card will hit better than the attributes, if we're being 100% honest. Very good card, especially for this point in the game. Chipper Jones, Atlanta Braves, 1999 veteran. The next boss we're going to review is the third baseman, Chipper Jones of the Atlanta Braves. This was 1999. This was the year he won the MVP. He had a ridiculous stat line, especially versus left-handed pitching. Go look it up on Baseball Reference if you don't believe me. It was absolutely ridiculous. He batted like 340 versus lefties, And I think he like 15 or 16 home runs and only like 130 at bats. It was insane how well he hit left-handed pitching that year. His secondaries for that season where he played some shortstop and left field, depending who was in the lineup with him those days on the Atlanta Braves. I don't know why they picked a veteran card here instead of a hardware card, because he did win MVP that year, so that means he was the best player in the National League per the Sports Writers Association. His hitting is diamond. His defense is bronze. Amazing hitting attributes. Let's take a quick look at them. 88 contact versus righty, 105 contact versus lefty, 88 power versus righty, 114 power versus lefty. He is a switch hitter, and I'm sure most of you guys know this. A lot of guys are big Chipper Jones fans and love his swing. I do think that he's always, because he always gets that good lefty-righty matchup and that good righty-lefty matchup, that these attributes, especially for the left-handed pitching, he's going to absolutely massacre people that hang any type of slider or breaking pitch, as well as he should be able to hit the fastballs pretty well. The 88 contact and 88 power versus righty is more than sufficient for a card, especially a left-handed batter with such a smooth swing that Chipper Jones has. I'm going to make an assumption they're using one of his earlier in his career swings. Like, I think there's a 1998 swing that's in the game for Chipper Jones. I know he changed his swing later in his career. I'm not sure which swing most people prefer. Me personally, have never been a huge fan of using Chipper Jones in the game. I've always liked him as a player. I just always had other third basemen that I've already been hitting well with. I'm one of those people that ain't broke, don't fix it. So why would I go away from a third baseman I'm playing well with to pick up Chipper Jones? Because typically he gets put into the game late. I'm actually kind of excited this year because I'll probably use this Chipper Jones some if I pick him as one of the three cards. I like to pick up all of the bosses anyway, so I'll definitely get to use him at some point. For his fielding, it's definitely not the best fielding, with 67 fielding, 71 arm strength, 69 arm accuracy, 65 reaction with 64 speed. Now, for a third baseman, his speed's actually pretty decent, so if you wanted to slap him in left field for whatever reason, you probably could get away with it. He doesn't have the best arm, but that's not necessarily a requirement for left field. I do think he cannot play shortstop. I don't think he'd have enough range or enough arm strength for those deeper throws, such as like the Fernando Tatis face of the franchise cards, or some other guys that have very good range and a really strong arm. I would just leave those guys to play shortstop. Another thing that I didn't go over when I was going over his hit attributes is he has 80 vision and 125 discipline, which I think are pretty important attributes. The 80 vision with the relatively high contact, I mean, it's more than relatively high, we're being honest. It is high. 88 contact is high. I don't know what his PCI is going to look like on Hall of Fame or Legend, but it should be pretty big still. I typically like to pick cards that have 75 plus vision when you're playing at higher difficulty. I think at 80 vision, he'll be more than fine, especially with his really sweet swing, and especially versus left-handed pitching with the 105 contact. I don't know how the 88 contact with the 80 vision is going to match up PCI wise. Maybe in the comments someone can comment and say, yeah, his PCI is still pretty big or it's small. I'll let you guys know whenever I get there and I play with the card, Hall of Fame or Legend. I'll let you guys kind of know what his PCI looks like in the comments. Let's take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are hitting machine, bomber, walker, pressure cooker, unbreakable. Obviously he has what I consider the big three for hitting. He has the hitting machine, bomber, and walker. I throw walker in there with bomber and hitting machine because I think the ability of being able to check swing when it's a close pitch can prevent you from rolling over on a pitch or hitting into a double play. Although I do like the 20/20 vision, which involves the fouling off balls. I do think with 20/20 vision, sometimes you hit those balls that you wouldn't normally touch with a guy that doesn't have it, and then you roll and get bad hits. So it ends up being an out anyway. But it does help sometimes whenever you get really caught up on a pitch and you can just foul it off because your PCI wasn't close to the ball. Guys, this Chipper Jones, it's a 94 overall. I think whenever you get him up to prestige, he becomes even more nasty, and that defense gets a little bit of bump, which makes his card even better since his hitting is already so good. I'm a big guy that preaches power. I like guys that have a lot of power, so this Chipper Jones card is actually very appealing to me. Still don't know why they made him a veteran card instead of hardware, but maybe someone can answer me. Also, something to mention, because he plays on the corners, his 6'4", 195 frame is super important. I think the fact that he has that huge frame actually bumps his fielding and reaction attributes a little bit higher than they should be, as in they don't become as important, because if you hit a ball at him, he doesn't need to jump or dive to the side as far as a smaller person. We've seen it last year with the Frank Thomas, where Frank Thomas knocked down a lot of balls he had no business touching. I see a lot this year with Olsen and some of the other bigger first basemen, and I've seen it some on third base with my guys as well. Although right now the Pirates' future stars card, Hayes, over at third base, who has like ridiculous fielding, so he pretty much just is a vacuum cleaner over there. However, I do think with the bigger frame that Chipper Jones' defensive attributes might actually play a little bit higher than they represent. Brian Roberts, Baltimore Orioles, prime card. Last but not least for the bosses, we're going to go over the second baseman, Brian Roberts, who played for the Baltimore Orioles in the prime of his career. He had like a 3 or 4 years in Baltimore where he absolutely mashed from both sides of the plate. This card's pretty representative of that. He didn't have the best home run pop, but he got a lot of doubles. I think one year he led the league in doubles. I don't know if it was Major League Baseball or just the American League, but I know one year like 50-some doubles. Is absolutely ridiculous. I have to hear about it some. I'm a Pittsburgh guy living in Baltimore. Long story short, was in the military, got out of the military, stayed here. But yeah, I hear about this guy. There's some lore about him from the Baltimore Orioles fans, if I'm being honest. So I'm assuming he was pretty good in his prime. And the numbers represent that when I went and looked him up on Baseball Reference. He's switch hitting, right-handed throwing, another smaller guy at 5'9", so he's not going to have this huge like Aaron Judge strike zone. I think it makes it pretty good for the guys that are contact hitters not to have a huge strike zone. Because when you get a contact hit in this game, you want a guy that has high on-base percentage. And if you can draw walks as well as get hits, makes the card even better. Take a quick look at his attributes that are diamond hitting, diamond defense. He has 108 contact versus righty, 90 contact versus lefty, 66 power versus righty, 57 power versus lefty. Pretty decent contact stats for a guy that's going to be a switch hitter. He's going to hit the right-handed pitch a little bit better. Has decent pop, not the best pop, but he's going to give you some dingers, especially from the right side of the plate. 94 vision, 91 discipline, 87 clutch. For his fielding, it's above average. It's not amazing, but it will get the job done for sure. 84 fielding, 75 arm strength, 80 arm accuracy, 88 reaction, which means even though he doesn't have the biggest arm or the greatest fielding at 84, but 84 is great. Don't get me wrong. 84 fielding is absolutely amazing, especially at second base. With that 88 reaction and his 92 speed, he's going to get to balls that are deep in the hole. So you don't have to play the shift as much against lefties because Brian Roberts should cut down some of that, which will help you from getting those outside pitches, which if you have a shift on, don't throw outside. It's just not smart pitching-wise. Little tip there, gameplay tip. But if you do throw it outside or the ball sails outside and the guy always hits it backside down the left-hander, hits it down the left field line, like you could just take the shift off with Brian Roberts. He should be able to cover most of second base. You get a good shortstop over there. The shift is irrelevant. My personal opinion, you don't need to do it anymore. I think this card will hopefully solve that problem defensively at second base. Looking at his speed real quick, I mentioned the 92 speed, but he also has 97 stealing, 94 base running aggressiveness, so he's going to be a guy that can swipe a few bags for you if you're one of those players that likes to play the small ball. Take a quick look at his quirks. His quirks are hitting machine, 20/20 vision, walker, quick reflexes, sniper, speedster, thief, pressure cooker, unbreakable. He also seems to have a plethora of quirks just like Victorino did. Obviously, Chipper Jones did not have the most quirks because he's not a defensive guy. And Victorino and Brian Roberts both have some decent defensive quirks. The quick reflexes, sniper for Brian Roberts. As well as with Brian Roberts, he has the hitting machine, going to excel at those base hits, the 20/20 vision. Those foul tips, kind of hard to strike him out. And Walker, you guys know I always hype up the Walker. I think check swings are pretty important. They can sometimes annoy your opponent, but it doesn't matter. You're worried about yourself, not whether or not your opponent likes you. The Speedster and Thief are very, very, very good for stealing bases. Like I said, if you're a small ball player, this is a card that might be pretty good for you. Overall, I would say to compare this card the most to the Roberto Alomar we got in the third inning program in MLB The Show 2019 if you played this previous year's game. And the reason I say that is he's a switch hitter. He hits right-handed pitching a little bit better, which means that he's batting left-handed just like Roberto Alomar did, where Roberto Alomar, better left-handed batter than a right-handed batter. Very good defensively, very fast. I would say that Roberto Alomar obviously was better last year because of 99 overall, but I think Brian Roberts kind of translates to what that Roberto Alomar could be, as well as when you prestige him, his numbers even look more like Roberto Alomar's from last year. And he has a really, really, really good swing, just like Roberto Alomar did. What I mean by that is Roberto Alomar did not have the best power numbers last year, but Roberto Alomar hit so many home runs for me and other people that used him that his power attributes did not matter as much. And I think based on the gold Brian Roberts card that I've used in this game, that it will be the same with this diamond card that it was for Roberto Alomar last year. His power number numbers will be bigger than what his attributes are. That's what I'm hoping for. But with those comparisons of them playing on Baltimore together and them having relatively the same stats, being switch hitters and really good swings, I think that's the comparison I'm going to go with for this card. The only downside is he only plays second base and has no other secondaries, which is also a thing with Roberto Alomar. So that's really what you have to decide, is if you need a second baseman or not when you're thinking about getting Brian Roberts. So now that we've done an in-depth review of all three cards, I'm going to explain to you which one I'm personally going to pick, and then where you should pick each three of the cards based on what you need within your lineup. So who I'm personally going to pick the first time around, and I end up, like I said, getting all three bosses anyway, but the guy I'm going to pick when I hit 300 stars, which will be very soon, is going to be Chipper Jones, just because he's going to fit my lineup the best. He's going to be, at the very least, a bench bat for me, but he'll probably get some reps at third base, see how he is defensively. He's not going to touch left field or shortstop on my team personally. However, I don't think his power numbers are unavoidable. I think they're just too much to pass up on at the 300 stars for me personally. When you prestige this card, I think his defensive attributes get shored up a little bit, and then he'll become absolutely filthy. But I can see the option for Victorino and Brian Roberts as well, depending on what you need. So, for Victorino, if you need another guy in the outfield that's going to be a lockdown defender, and you need a beginning of the order guy or back end of the order guy, or just you're not the best defensively, you're the best hitter, so it's good to have a guy with good vision and good hitting contact that can play in the outfield, Shane Victorino's for you. He has a very good swing. I'm actually really excited to use this card as well as the Chipper Jones card whenever I get the Shane Victorino. Going to kind of wait for their price to go down. And he will be used on my team for the time being, probably in center field, because I don't have the Mickey Mantle yet. I'm working on it. I'm pretty close. Got maybe 3 or 4 cards away. But it's all like the really big diamonds, except I already have Trout. If not, he'll probably be bumped into the corners. And I think his prestige card actually looks really, really good. So he's another guy that I would actually consider picking. For me, my outfield is just super loaded, so I don't need another outfielder. However, I do think that the Shane Victorino is very viable. Now for the Brian Roberts. So I do think the Brian Roberts card is very good. However, I just feel like, why wouldn't you go get the Tampa Bay Rays Team Affinity Future Stars Vidal Brujan? Because he's literally the same player as Brian Roberts, other than you can't prestige him. Now when Brian Roberts prestiges, he's better than Brujan hands down. However, not prestige, they're pretty much the same card, and I think Brujan, for me, has a better swing. That's just my personal opinion. However, you need a second baseman. This Brian Roberts card is filthy, and it'll even be better when you prestige it. And I just think, like I said, it's this year's Roberto Alomar. I think Brujan is just a better option for free, while you can still then get the Chipper Jones or Victorino without putting any stubs into the game. So that's my opinion why Brian Roberts probably will be the last one I get, and I don't necessarily advise anybody to pick him. Now, if you're a Baltimore Orioles fan or you need a second baseman, 100% pick Brian Roberts. I think the card looks fantastic, but for me, just doesn't work because I already have Brujan. Why would I pick another second baseman that can only play second base? Guys, I appreciate everyone watching, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Please hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up so I know I'm doing a good job. Also hit that notification bell so you know whenever I'm uploading videos. That way you can come back and watch some more. If you are enjoying the content, I would love for you to watch me live at twitch.tv/HopefulChewbacca. I stream Monday through Thursday, 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also do stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from time to time. I do not have a set schedule. However, if you want to know when I'm going live those days, follow me on Twitter at Hopeful1137. I'll tweet out whenever I'm about to go live. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or want to play me in a friendly, you can always add me on PlayStation Network. My gamer tag is Hopeful1137. Guys, it's always my pleasure to create content for you guys. Have a good day and be safe.